That first of all, Allah is explaining that people who live in the East or people who live in the West, there are different traditions and cultures. People who live in the West or people who live in the East, there are difference of cultures, difference of environment, different of their systems, way of dresses and their system, economic system, everything is different, East and the West people. So people make wars or make Eastern people say we are better than the Western, and the West people are saying we are better than the East. So why are you looking at the West and why are you looking at the East? So Allah says it is not righteous that you face the East, means you make the direction of the belief East as right. East and West are not right, or their cultures are Eastern people or Western people, doesn't make anything. It is not righteousness that you face East, makes a direction of belief to the East or to the West. The righteousness is that you establish the righteousness that who believes in Allah, number one, the last day and the angels and the book and the prophets. So this is an article of belief. What should be our iman? You will hear again and again people criticizing the West. I may have also done in a slip of tongue, but you cannot criticize West because in the West Muslims are living. Or West are criticizing the East. It is not righteousness. It is not right that you face the East, or it is not right you face the West. Qibla means the direction of belief. You start copying the culture of the East. They say we are Eastern, we should be restricted to our Eastern culture. Or we are Western, they say we have to restrict ourselves to our Western culture. Or Westernized or Easternized. These are nothing, or have no values. You have to believe in Allah and the last day and the book and the angels. This should be your belief. If you know what Allah is, His personality trait, He is above 99 attribute traits. What is the last day? What is going to happen on the last day? We have to give our account. What is the book? We have to know the book. What are the behavior of the angels? That we have to know. This is righteousness and this should be our belief. Then it is our topic is here. وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ, and he gives his wealth over the love of Him, of Allah. You remember this. Claim that they love Allah the most. They love Allah the most. Actually, we love not Allah the most. We love our relations, our children, our wives and husbands, our parents, our the dear ones, our business. So Allah says, if you love Allah, so they say they give their wealth from the wealth, the 20%, they give this wealth for the love of Allah, the love of Allah. Because they love Allah so dear, so much, that they don't find anything. They just give it to the categories. They just give it. It's not theirs. They don't even think it is there, because 20 does not belong to them out of 100. Prophet, 80 is yours. 20 doesn't. So when Allah says, they do it for the love of Allah. So that is the description of those people who acts upon on the ayats for the love of Allah. وَآتَ الْمَالَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ, they give the wealth over His love, upon the love of Him. ذَوِي الْقُرْبَى, these are the categories, is the relatives, and yatama wal masakin. Yatama means the orphans, masakin means the needy. وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ, the son of the وَالسَّائِلِينَ وَفِي الرِّقَابِ, and those who ask and those who are in slavery. So the main emphasis is that you have to give due to the love of Allah. That's the main emphasis in this ayat. The love of Allah. If you love Allah the most, you will give. No matter, nobody can stop you from. You will not even think it is yours. And charity, when given to somebody, you cannot go and ask the other day, I gave you so much amount, give it to me back. Charity once given is given. You can't even think of asking that charity back. So now, further it says, then you establish the salah and give zakah, the justification. Wa'ata zakah. Wa'ata zakah, I told you the zakah justification, why you are giving sadaqah charity. Zakah is a justification of your act. Why I am giving this sadaqah charity, that is my act. So I give sadaqah charity, I give zakah, I justify my act, that is zakat. وَالْمُوفُونَ بِعَهْدِهِمْ إِذَا عَهْدُوا, and then when they promise, they fulfill their promises, and they are patient in misery and harm. During the time of misery, they are the truthful, and these are the people who do guard. So this is the description of muttaqeen. In the end, ulaika humul muttaqeen, they are the people who guard. But from our topic was that the people who are spending money onto the categories, they can only do so, or they will have, when they have strong love for Allah. If they love Allah, they will do it just like that. They will not think twice, because they know that this money does not, 20% does not belong to them. This is not halal for them. Allah says, eat from the ghanim which is halal for you. So they give it and they don't even think it. So now I'm reading these few ayahs related to the behavior of the people who are giving money and giving charities. Sabta. AL-LAIL 92 verse 18 to 21. Page 20. الذي يؤتي ماله يتزكى وما لأحد عنده من نعمة تجزى إلا ابتغاء وجه ربه الأعلى ولسوف يرضى. He who gives his wealth to justify, that is 1/5 of ghanim, profit, and any amount to his means. And from his nearness he does not expect from anyone a favor of reward, except seeking the face of his Lord the Most High, and definitely soon he will be pleased. In this ayats rather, Allah says he gives his wealth to justify. Look, in the Arabic is alladhi yu'ti malahu yatazakka. Zakah, I told you, to justify. Zakat is justification. He is giving the wealth to justify his wealth. Out of 100 amount, what he gives is yatazakka. He justifies his wealth. Yu'ti malahu. He gives his wealth to justify. وَمَا لِأَحَدٍ عِنْدَهُ مِنْ نِعْمَةٍ تُجْزَى. And from his nearness, he does not express from anyone a favor of reward. To whomever he gives, he does not express from anyone any reward. This is the behavior of those people who love Allah and give zakat to justify their wealth. They do not expect anything from anybody, from their nearness. And from his nearness, this nearness is his nearness, he does not express from anyone a favor of reward. Except, they won't accept the seeking the face of his Lord the Most High. They want a reward from Allah. They don't want reward from the people to whom they are giving. That they should beautify their name. That they have given such amount of money, they have done this and that. No, they are just giving for the love of Allah, for the face of Allah. Except they want the reward from the seeking from the Lord, the Most High. And definitely soon he will be pleased. So Allah says, soon this person will be pleased by Allah. Because he has given his money, his wealth to justify, and he does not seek any reward from anybody, except he is seeking the reward from his Lord. And definitely soon he will be pleased. This is the behavior of those people who are giving this sadaqah charity from their wealth to justify. Further it says in Surah Al-MAARIJ 70, 24 and 25. وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ لِلسَّائِلِينَ وَالْمَحْرُومِ لِلسَّائِلِينَ وَالْمَحْرُومِ. And in their wealth the right is known, for sa'il who asks and for mahroom who are deprived. So these people who are involved in sharing the 20% from their to the categories, they know from their wealth the right of money to whom they should spend. The right is known of the category. They know this, that we have to give this amount to this category or that category or that category. So Allah says, وَالَّذِينَ فِي أَمْوَالِهِمْ حَقٌّ مَعْلُومٌ. In their wealth, they know who are those the right of the category. They know this. Who are those people? The 8 categories. They know that in our wealth, in our 100%, the 20 is for this category. The haq of their right they know, and they know who ask, people who are asking money for the categories, and mahroom, and they also know that who are deprived, who are not given. They also know in their wealth that we do not have to deprive any category. We cannot deprive any category. We have to give to those people also. So Allah said these are the behavior of those people who are giving this wealth for the love of Allah, for the reward from Allah, for the seeking the face of His Lord the Most High. And further the description of these people is Surah Al-Fatih 35:29. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَتْلُونَ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ وَقَامُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَأَنْفَقُوا مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ سِرًّا وَعَلَانِيَةً يَرْجُونَ تِجَارَةً لَن تَبُورَ. Surely those who recite Al-Kitab, the book of Allah, and establish the Salah, the prayer, and from whatever sustenance we gave them they spend, secretly and in announcement, hoping a business that will never ruin, be useless. So now there is a behavior of those people, those who recite the book of Allah, they are reciting the book of Allah, they are establishing the Salah, the prayer, and they spend from what Allah has provided them, from the sustenance they spend, secretly and in announcement. Both ways are correct. To whom you should give secretly? There are people, izzat nafs. There are so many types of people whom we don't want his psyche should be hurt if we give some wealth. So secretly you make arrangements so that the money reach that mahroom, that he is deprived. So you make an arrangement secretly, the money you give to this category, that it is reached to that category. Alania is also allowed. Whom you want to, in announcement you want to give it in announcement. Both are right in the eyes of, in the nearness of Allah. But it is the judgment is given to you. To whom you want to give secretly, give secretly. It is right in the eyes of Allah. You can't say this is the only right way. No, in Alania also it is right. But it all depends upon you. And it all depends to whom you are giving. It all depends upon to the situation of the person whom you are giving and what relation you have with him. So you give secretly or in announcement, both are correct. And Allah says, they seek a business, hoping for a business that will never fail. They will never be useless. Now in the world, people are saying, there's a lecture the next Saturday about riba, the increase. They say in riba is that business sort of riba is that kind of a deal. They're telling us that kind of a deal which there is no loss. No loss, no profit and loss. It should be profit. But here Allah says this ayah, hoping for a business that will never ruin. So these people are hoping for a business that will never ruin, be useless or at loss. So this is allowed in the eyes of Allah, that you must do business where there is no loss in the eyes of God. So if you are doing business with Allah, you are secretly sending or giving money or giving this to the categories in secretly or in an announcement, and you are hoping of a business that will never ruin with Allah. It will always multiply. And how much it multiplies, we end with this lecture in Surah Al-Baqarah 2 and Ayah 261. مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ أَنْبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلَ فِي كُلِّ سُنْبُلَةٍ مِئَةُ حَبَّةٍ وَاللَّهُ يُضَاعِفُ لِمَنْ يَشَاءُ وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. The example of those who spend in the way of Allah is like the example of a grain that grows 7 years. In every ear that is a part of the grain are 100 grains, and Allah multiplies for whom He wills, and Allah is spacious knowing. If there is a 1 unit, Allah has given example, those who spend the wealth in the way of Allah, whatever Allah has mentioned in the Quran, He spends this wealth in among the categories. So Allah says that if you spend a 1 unit in the way of Allah, it has got ears or part of the grain, if it is like a grain, and that has got 7 parts of that grain is an ear, 7 parts of a grain, and that 7 part from that among the 7 parts, 1 part has got 7 ears. 100. One part of that ear or the ear has got 100 parts. So you can multiply, that comes into 700 times Ali multiplies. I repeat, it says that if you, is like the example of 1 unit as a grain that grows 7 years, 7 years, 7 parts of that grain, it is divided into 7 parts, and 1 part is 100 grains. 1 part has got 100 grains. So 7 would be 700 grains. This is the number of times Allah is multiplying for the people who are spending in the way of Allah. So you must understand that is the business that you are doing with Allah that will never fail. This is the tijara that we people, Muslim people, has been given the opportunity that we have to give. And generally speaking, if we understand, if you look that the 100% that we get the profit, the non-Muslims get the 100% profit from a business, you get the 100% profit. From your profit becomes 20 less because you give it because of the love of Allah to the 20 to the categories. He has got 100. He has got 100, but he is not spending. You got the profit, you get 20 less because you have to give it to the category. Because of the love of Allah, you give 20. But Allah says He multiplies into 700 times in all aspects. In your sustenance, in your psyche, in your wealth, in every aspect He multiplies 700 times. Not only money, in everything. So here, ladies and gentlemen, I end this lecture just concising it that in the sadaqah, we have come to know the sadaqah is the charity, zakat is the justification, ghanim is the profit. And ghanim profit is whatever the amount of the profit you get. There are 2 types of sadaqah charity. One is sadaqah charity is on the profit is 20, and one is the consultation with the messenger. Any situation that comes into you, into your life, you consult the messenger, or you take up an ayah and which is related to your life, you memorize it with Arabic text, with understanding and meaning and essence, and then you recite in your salah with essence. So that salah is a satisfaction or a purification or a justification of the messenger over you. This is how you purify psychologically purify yourself and justify yourself. So this is how the 2 types of sadaqah charity you have to give. One is from your 20, one is from your 100. The consultation you have to give from your own 80. You don't have to give it from the 20 because that 20 is already theirs to the categories. The remaining 80 you get psychologically sick. You have confessed what you are doing right acts and what you are doing bad acts. You have mixed those things. You have to consult with the messenger and you confess and you amend. So in this context, Allah has asked you to remember, consult with the messenger, take guidance from them, you advance the sadaqah if you forgot, you give sadaqah. And people who do not have sadaqah to give to the messenger or charity gift to the messenger, they still are given the opportunity because they can consult with the messenger. If they do not have the sadaqah charity to give advance, they still consult with the messenger. I end up like this. You can ask any question related to the topic.
Jazakallah, Brother Muhammad Sheikh. We will now start our question answer session. Let me just briefly give you this session will proceed. From the sisters, they will be requested to raise their hands so one of the administrators can come and give you the mic to ask the question. Once the questions from the sisters section is over, we will move on to the brothers and then request them to raise their hands and ask their questions accordingly.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Mrs. Sophia Shahryar. My question is, in which category do the parents and siblings, brothers and sisters come? And can we share the 20% with them?
No, the question is that the parents or the brothers and the sisters, do they come under the categories? The parents, the children and the sisters and the daughters, your children also, they are, you spend from your 80. You don't spend from the 20 because the 20 is not allowed. They are to the categories. So the parents do not come under the category. The children do not come under the category. The brothers do not come under the category. Sisters do not come under the category. Because how you come to know, because I just give you the reference, you just write down, I'm not explaining that ayah. if you go to Surah Al-Imran 3 and ayah number says 7, 11, I suppose. The ayah that refers to the inheritance. The inheritance ayah. Surah Nisa 4 and ayah 11. In Surah Nisa 4 and ayah 11, I'm not reading, I'm just telling you that that is the taraka or the remain over, what has been left over by any person. So that leftover is mentioned, that this leftover is given to the children, to the parents, to the brothers and sisters, and whoever the categories, the relations. So the people who are under in that taraka is the leftover of any person's belonging. So this taraka or the leftover is not in this world. When you are living in this world, you are spending money from your 80. So that 80 was left over for your children. It is not 80, it is not from 20. 20 is haram or forbidden. So that means your brothers, your sisters, your children do not come under sadaqah. You have to spend from your 80, and that 80 you are also piling it up, and when you pass from this world, that 80 is given to your children. When they receive, they get this amount, they have to give 20 to the categories. So 20 is a category not from your brothers and sisters, so they don't come under this category. Thank you.
Ji, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mrs. Shahryar, and my question is, can you please explain who comes in yatim category?
Okay, yatama. The question is yatama. Yatama is an orphan. You open Surah Nisa 4 and ayah maybe 6. You see, yatama is a category. An orphan is mentioned in the Quran. And if you open this for Surah, I will read 2-3 ayahs, and you will know till what time you are a yatama. Yatama person who, in a general term, is when parents died, an orphan a person becomes an orphan. When father dies or the mother dies, generally understanding of his parents dies, he becomes an orphan. So in the ayah, it says in Surah 4 Nisa and ayah 6, وَابْتَلُوا الْيَتَامَى حَتَّى إِذَا بَلَغُوا النِّكَاحَ فَإِنْ آنَسْتُم مِّنْهُمْ رُشْدًا فَادْفَعُوا إِلَيْهِمْ أَمْوَالَهُمْ وَلَا تَأْكُلُوهَا إِسْرَافًا وَبِدَارًا أَن يَكْبَرُوا وَمَنْ كَانَ غَنِيًّا فَلْيَسْتَعْفِفْ وَمَنْ كَانَ فَقِيرًا فَلْيَأْكُلْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ فَإِذَا دَفَعْتُمْ إِلَيْهِمْ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فَأَشْهِدُوا عَلَيْهِمْ وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ حَسِيبًا. And make a trial of the orphans. These are the young children, orphans, until they reach the age of marriage. That means they are young when somebody was taking care of them. They were young and little. Until they are grown up and they reach the age of marriage, they are the orphans. If you find sobriety, and then release their wealth to them. So now, when you find that they are sober, you release their wealth. What their wealth, you had their father's wealth with you, you were taking care of them, he was an orphan, you were a caretaker. So you release their wealth when you find sobriety in them and they reach the marriage age. Till that day, that person was an orphan. Of them. But consume it not. Okay. Now you understand that a person is an orphan when he is small and a caretaker is taking care of him until he grows up and it attains a marriageable age and he has become sober enough. So you release the wealth of his wealth, giving back to him. So he's got this conscious mind, he's a sober person, he can take care of him now. So that means he is now no more orphan. Orphan when he was being caretaking, he was taken care of. Till that age he was an orphan. After that he was not orphan. Otherwise all we are grown up, our father had died, we are all orphans now. But we are no more orphans. When we were young, and this is how. Similarly, this is the basic understanding from the ayat, who is an orphan and what age limit he has got an orphan. That is a marriageable age, and that age Also, he should be sober, that he can take care of the wealth if he is given to him. If he is not sober, if not, his weak mind is weakly minded, his mind is weak, so you have to still take care of him. He will remain an orphan. If you are a caretaker and you find that he is not sober, he will just lose his money, or you have to control the wealth. You can take care of him. He will again remain an orphan, weakened person. A caretaker, if caretaking somebody, is an orphan.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
My
assalam.
name is Shanaz Khurshid. Number one, Allah is an extension
Can
of the
you,
last.
I can't hear you. Can you speak?
Okay. Number one, my first question is actually I wanted you to tell me about riqab.
About?
Can you elaborate on the word riqab?
Riqab,
Does
word
this
is
mean
slavery.
Slavery of the mind, or is
No,
does that-
slavery. In the rural areas, you can see many people are enslaved.
Them.
Yeah.
So how do we? I see. So we have to also give
No.
charity to them.
You can go and give to the people who enslave them, their workers, their slave. You can give to the owner the amount of money, and you get them free.
All right. And the second one is an extension of the last question. Is a widow and a divorcee, does she come in the category of an orphan? A widow
Yeah,
or a divorcee?
every girl who is not getting married, who is have no caretaker, is basically that category. You must understand this. In the Quran, for especially the women, the girls, the orphan category is one orphan I just now explained, right? But in the Quran, there is an ayat in the Quran which Allah is asking. I can refer to that ayat, which referred, if you want to see, I will tell you, in Surah Nisa 4 and 127, I suppose. وَيَسْتَفْتُونَكَ فِي النِّسَاءِ, and they ask you concerning women. Now, the Quran is telling that people are asking concerning women. The Arabic word is Nisa, is woman. Okay?
Yes.
Allah answers, قُلْ يِفْتِيكُمْ فِيهِنْ. Allah gives you, or they want fatwa, or what fatwa is basically in Arabic is fatwa. They are asking a fatwa for women, legal advice. They are asking for a legal advice for women. In women, Allah gives you legal advice. وَمَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الْكِتَابِ, and what is being recited over you in the book. فِي يَتَامَ النِّسَاءِ اللَّاتِي, in the orphan woman. Lati la tunahunna ma kutiba lahunna. You do not give them what Allah has written for them. وَتَرْغَبُونَ أَن تَنْكِحُوهُنَّ, and you have a desire to marry them. So the question is that women, the legal advice is for the women. The Arabic starts with the وَيَسْتَفْنُوكَ فِي النِّسَاءِ. They asked a legal advice for the woman, among women. But the answer was given, and for the yatama nisa, orphan woman. وَمَا يُتْلَى عَلَيْكُمْ فِي الْكِتَابِ فِي يَتَامَ النِّسَاءِ اللَّاتِي. So Allah is explaining you that you were asking, you means mankind is asking a legal advice from the messenger regarding women. But Allah answers back that what is written in the book, for the orphan women, you do not give them what is required for them, and you do not marry them, and yet you desire them to marry them. So in the Quran, a woman, orphan, is any woman who is a marriageable age, or his age is passing by, or she's a divorcee, or she's a widow, who does not have a caretaker. She comes under the category or a class of orphan. A divorcee is an orphan, a widow is an orphan, a woman whose age is passing by, she's not been selected and get married, she's an orphan. She can take care of herself in the world, that's not her duty, but she can do so, but she will come under the category of an orphan. So that is why when they ask the question about the woman, Allah answers back, not the question or a fatwa or a legal advice, the legal advice was given back for the orphan woman. That it is written for them, you marry what is written for the woman? وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ أَلَّا تُقْسِطُوا فِي الْيَتَامَى فَانْكِحُوا مَا طَابَ لَكُم مِّنَ النِّسَاءِ مَثْنَى وَثُلَاثَ وَرُبَاعَ. It says that if you fear that you cannot do justice among the women, you marry them in 2s and 3s and 4. So that is for the orphan woman. Every woman becomes under the category of an orphan when you can't, when she's not getting married. So divorcee, widow, normal woman whose age is passing by and she's not being caretaker of, there's no caretaker, she's an orphan woman.
Okay, my name is Khurshid.
Yes.
I have to ask a question, that is that you have to work out a profit. What is the system of calculating the profit from which you have to, take your 80% and give 20% to whatever Sadaqah and Zakat?
Oh, that's simple. Everybody knows how to work out his profit of all the expenditures. There are expenditures that in your lifestyle, and every person who is living a lifestyle, he knows his expenditures. And then he knows this amount of money I'm saving. That the amount that you are saving is the net profit taking out your expenditures. But the amount that you save is the net profit after completion of